Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another case study. I'm here with Richard. Welcome, brother.
Thanks for having me here.
Dude, I'm super excited to have you on the channel because this is a really special one in my mind because Richard came to me in some interesting circumstances, and even when we had a sales call together, I was slightly considering whether or not you should do this because you're in such an interesting position. As a bit of a highlight, Richard came, before he started working with me, he was in debt. He was working basically three part-time jobs,
Yeah.
working in two grocery stores and also working as a guitar teacher, doing 70, 80 hours per week. And he was in debt. And he went further in debt to come and work with me inside the RSA, which was an absolutely ballsy move. And from there, he's now in Thailand with me in Bangkok. He's been here the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, three and a half.
Yeah, so he's quit all three of his jobs
Yep.
and he is now traveling the world doing all the stuff that you guys see on Instagram, right? And so, man, if we're going to really start way back, let's give the guys, I guess, a bit of an introduction of how you met me and how you came across my content.
Came across you. Okay. Well, I still do, but like Hamza and Jack Hopkins used to follow their self-improvement because I went through a little bit of that at the age of 25, so about two years ago. And Jack Hopkins had the 10K accelerator, so decided to join that, and I was actually went going on a holiday to Thailand, so I didn't even look at it. I just joined it just because it was cheap. Went there, went to Thailand, and once I got here, I was like, oh my God, this is the life that I want. And then when I got back, I saw that you were the teacher, and from there, I know you had the RSA back then, and I'm like, you're actually genuine. I could see, yeah, you're just a genuine human. Like you actually want to help people out.
Yep.
You're an Australian as well, which is probably another one for me. And yeah, decided to go invest a little bit more into the RSA for
And
that one-on-one.
And that's super cool, man, because like you're already in debt, right?
Mm.
And you chose to double down. You invested in another mastermind in something, non-sales related, and you wanted to come invest with me. What was going through your head where I'm like, I'm already in debt, I'm working these part-time jobs, I'm working really long hours. How did you come to the conclusion of like, I'm going to go more in debt, I'm going to get more one-on-one support? Like, why was that so important to you?
Well, I felt like I really needed that one-on-one just because I've seen it. I try to relate everything to music in a sense because you can learn the guitar by yourself. Like I'm a guitar player, but
Yeah.
I really felt having that teacher there, especially in the first couple of years of starting. It obviously helps you progress a lot further because you come with the problems. He tells you what your weaknesses are, what's your strengths. So I just thought at that point in time, like the worst case scenario was I could just work the same hours and pay it off slowly, and just like hopefully the interest doesn't build up, that type
Yeah.
of thing. So that was sort of the worst case scenario. But yeah, you can tell it definitely didn't go that way. So
No, definitely not. And I want to take the guys all the way back from when I guess you first invested with me. What were you thinking? You're right, I've paid this amount and I'm balls deep, I'm going right into high ticket sales. What was the next step for you? What were you doing? Take us through the full start to finish of how it all went.
yeah, so I feel like when you invest in something that big, you tend to take a lot more action on it. And if it was free, let's say, you look at it for a bit, maybe chuck it away. But since I invested that much, I was like, all right, I need to organize myself to do daily learnings, go through the course material, ask you questions as well, make sure I do rock up on all the calls and the role plays as well.
Yeah.
Which I was sometimes staying up till like 4 a.m. after night shift to do the role plays.
Which before you go on, I want to highlight that in Richard as well, because to give you guys like an understanding of what it takes to be successful, something that I have observed in Richard is that the guy just gets after it, plain and simple, right? He would turn up to coaching calls on shift, sometimes with his camera on, right? And I'd be like, Richard, you're at shift, bro. And he'd just like take himself off mute and be like, yeah, bro, I'm at shift, so I'll just be listening in today. there are guys out there that give every excuse possible, but Richard, something that you've done really, really well, brother, is like you constantly show up, you put in the effort, you put in the work, and I think you've even made a post about it on Facebook at some point of just cause and effect,
Yeah,
right? If you just put in the inputs and you focus on the action, the reaction or the output will eventually come.
yeah, it just compounds and that's it. And
Yeah.
it's off to the races, as they say. So,
And the reason I really like that, man, is because that's very much like me. Like just showing up when required, even if it's messy, even if you just have to listen in. Like there are hundreds of people that could potentially come to those calls, but don't. Right?
yeah,
Every excuse that kind of comes in the book, and so you were showing up at work. You were working some pretty hard hours. You had a bit of a fire up your bum because you've invested money into a coaching program. You're like, I need to make this work, which I understand that feeling all too well.
yeah.
And so, what was the next step from there? You started training, you started going through the content, the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, let's hear all of it. Like, did you get on bad offers? Did you get on good offers? Like, let's get all the meat of it.
Yeah, so as I said, yeah, we've gone in right into the heat of things, networking with people inside the RSA and outside, and learning, like daily learning, setting time out. Of course, when I was able to, sometimes I would learn on the job and attend the calls.
Yeah.
And yeah, trying to find offers because I was like, I need to get onto an offer. And then, yeah, had my first offer within 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
Okay. What was it?
It was a mental health sort of offer, helping, like empowering men to just achieve their goals, like whether it's relationship or training or whatnot, or financial. So it was that. It got offered to me. Being 3 or 4 weeks into sales, I did not know how to vet an offer or know what an offer was.
Yeah.
So I just decided to jump the gun and go straight into it. So, and I was doing that part-time along with Coles and BWS, and that was a horrible offer. Like, I love the owner,
Yeah.
but I still am grateful for it because it showed me like the worst of the worst before it started getting better. So I think I worked on that offer for a month and made a month or two and made nothing. So literally nothing.
Yeah, and the thing I like to always talk about, which I heard this quote recently, which is, there's no failure, only feedback.
Yeah,
And every bad offer that you get is going to be giving you a clear understanding of what you don't want.
yeah,
So in the future, you know exactly what it is that you don't want and you can save time. But inevitably, even if you're a beginner, right, which I encourage all my guys to talk to me about screening offers, but sometimes they don't, right? This happens,
Yep.
right? This is normal. And you can really, really get caught in a bit of a, bit of a jam, I guess, where you're working on a wrong offer. It's not going to make you money. You think it's going to make you money, and you feel good about it, but you're so new that you don't know all the pitfalls and red flags to look for in offers. And do you even know what the offer was doing in revenue at the time?
I think it was around 60, 70K maybe,
Okay.
apparently. But when I was there, it was pretty much zero because I was
Yeah.
making more money off my grocery jobs.
Yeah, wow, that's insane, and it's not uncommon as well because one of the skills I always talk about, as you would know, which is screening skills.
Yeah,
Like you need to have the ability to screen good offers and opportunities because without that, you're going to end up working on a lot of bad ones and wasting a lot of time, as you've probably seen not only through your own experience, but a lot of the guys that you've networked with and connected in the RSA. Same mistake happens over and over and over again.
it's quite common.
Yeah.
Looking at it now.
You get overconfident and you just get super excited that the first offer that you get because you're like, oh my God, it's real. I can make money online. And then you get in and then you're just so hopeful and you're praying that the offer is going to work out, but it never usually does.
Yeah, I would always say if you just maybe joined, like going into high ticket sales, that first offer I would really take a step back and just, there's thousands of offers out there, as you say, you don't have to call it FOMOing in, getting desperate. Because I think I was coming from a place of desperation just because I invested. I'm like, oh my God, there's an offer.
Yeah.
Just jumped the gun without proper action, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's all about having and picking offers and opportunities out of choice, not desperation. But most, not all, don't have access to the same opportunities you do because you understand how to network.
Yeah.
you understand that that skill's at play, you have structure, you have strategy inside the community. Whereas most people with cold DMs, cold outreaching, did you ever like end up doing any of that at all? Like just reaching out to people cold and trying to get roles?
Cold, yes, for about a week, and then I
How'd that
was
go?
like, yeah,
I think you would have tested some of that in the 10K, right?
yeah, some of it,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I realized my Instagram had just turned to all offer owners, and my inbox was just filled with me just sending this, not the same loom, but like sending it over and over. But I think 2 people replied out of like 100 cold DMs,
Yeah.
and they weren't looking. So anyway, yeah. So I just went back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it makes no sense to me at all, like to use such an outdated method that is just proven not to work with not only data and research, because again, if you guys can look it up, there was a study done by LinkedIn where 3,000 business owners were surveyed. Only 75% of them hired through a trusted connection, and the most desirable was 95%. So the same rules apply to the general marketplace as high ticket sales, right? It's just the same thing goes. If you are stuck doing cold DMs and cold outreaching, it's not going to work.
That's not gonna
Trust
work.
me.
Yeah.
Like every guy who tries it before meeting me, before working with me, or just in general in the past, I know how bad it is, not only from a high ticket closing perspective, but even your own business. Reaching out to people who are cold, who don't want you in the first place, is going to be incredibly difficult to land an opportunity. Not only on top of that, you're constricting the amount of lead flow of opportunities, or the pipeline you can get, the quality of pipeline, the quality of opportunities you can get, because you don't know who these people are. You have no idea from the outside looking in, and you're just hoping and praying that they even have an opening, right? Which is very rare to happen at the end of the day. But if we draw back to where you were going with the offers and things like that, so you had a bad offer, didn't make any money for 1 to 2 months. Where did you go from there?
Decided to hop on another bad offer, so I did that.
Okay.
At one point, I was on 3 offers. One of them was like appointment setting. This is all while I'm working 2 part-time jobs, still
That's
with the
insane.
60 hours, yeah, and 2 DM setting ones.
If you say you can't do it, this guy's working harder than you, so shut up. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, okay. And so you're working insanely hard, and you took another bad offer. Walk
Yeah.
us through that.
Sorry.
Walk us through that.
Well, obviously at that point, after 2 months of being on the first offer, I'm like, there's another offer that just came across my table, just through networking. I'm like, all right, let's jump ship and see what this offer is about, which was an agency one. So helping people start their own agencies, that stuff. Which actually, on that first offer, I was the only sales rep. I was the setting, and the offer owner was closing.
Okay.
So from there, I'm like, all right, I need to join an offer that has other setters or closers, like a team. So that's one of the things I learned. So it's like, yeah, being the lone gun's a bit hard, yeah, because you've got nothing to base it off. So yeah, joined the team, the agency one, did a DM setting as well for another agency one, and yeah, still didn't make money for about another month. So yeah,
Yep.
that was about it.
What was the problem as to why you weren't making the offer?
Looking back on it now, it might have been. It definitely was the offer. Because I didn't believe, looking back at it now, that it was a good offer.
Yeah.
I don't believe the closers were good, or the
Yeah.
people that closed the deals. I'm not even sure if they ran that many ads or like what all that was about. And yeah, especially with the DM setting ones, that was cold DM. So we just hit up a bunch of people. So as you can imagine, yeah, I've probably booked in like 16 to 20 people, really, 15 to 20, and none of them closed.
Yeah.
Even through that. So.
And that's the tricky part with setting roles that a lot of you guys have got to realize is, if you're looking for a setting opportunity, you ideally, especially if you're in the same position that Richard's in, is if you've got other jobs, or you're cutting a job to get income from this current role, you need to have some sort of a base, especially if you're a setter. Like, it's going to be really, really hard for you to make a livable wage, especially if you suck in the beginning, because we all sucked in the beginning. Really bad. Really, really bad. I was the worst, by the way. But you're going to need to be confident that the role that you're getting onto, the closer is actually good.
Yeah.
Whether it be a founder or a current existing salesperson, if you're looking to get a setting position, you need to make sure that you can validate that through some way, shape, or form, whether or not it's data, whether or not it's call recordings, whatever it is. And you might be thinking, Connor, I can't be that, what's the word? I can't be that indecisive about offers when I'm a beginner or I lack experience. You absolutely can. Because you and I both know, these guys might not know, that you're going to waste weeks, a month, months, if you get the wrong offer anyway. So you may as well take the time to actually build a pipeline of good opportunities that are going to enable you to make the income that you want. Because otherwise, you're going to end up wasting your time, just like Richard did, just like I did. It took me a long time to learn this. And it's really, really important that you take those factors into play and you build your pipeline of offers and opportunities as well. And so this one didn't work out even then. So
No.
what was the next step from there?
Next step, quite a few times in that, so it would have been the first 3 months of jumping onto high ticket sales. A lot of moments where I wanted to quit. So, yeah, dealing with that, dealing with just working so much and just my mental health, I guess, just deteriorating.
Yeah. Why did you want to quit?
Well, I just didn't think it could work at that point after 3 months,
Yeah.
So, and I just thought maybe I didn't put the effort in, maybe...
Yep. Maybe it's me. Maybe
Yeah.
something's wrong with me. Maybe
Yeah.
I can't make this work. Maybe making money online is not possible, right? All these questions go through your head, right?
Constantly, yeah.
Yep.
Every day. And you got people...
In your ear, family.
Yep. Family, friends saying it's not real. You know, what are you doing? Just go back, go to university, finish your degree and all that type of stuff. But at one point, I'm just like, you've only got one life, and I'd rather spend it chasing a dream than being just a normal, just okay where I'm at. I'd rather aim for the stars. If I fall down and never reach it, at least I tried. In the end, I can go to whatever, religion you're in, go to the end and be like, I've tried my best,
100%. I completely agree. I think there's nothing more noble, there's nothing more exciting about taking that risk, because you're better off taking that risk regardless, because what's more risky at the end of the day? Staying doing what you're doing or trying to make an effort to get to where you want to go? Because I can share that same frustration. I've been there so many times for years, right? For years. Up until I actually started to get some traction with high ticket sales, it's incredibly difficult, right? You got your family in your ear, you got your friends in your ear, pyramid scheme, not real, go back to university, go do this, go get another job. Like, this period of 6 months to a year is going to be one of the hardest things that you've ever done, right? Regardless of if you're in my mentorship inside the RSA Mastermind, whether or not you're doing this yourself, that's going to be one of the most difficult periods of your life, in my opinion, when it comes to this type of thing, because everything's going against you. You're not getting results, right? What people are saying is true, right? You are not making money, you're not getting results, and it's so difficult to persevere through that. And I think I really like that mindset that you mentioned. It's just like there's so much more emphasis on taking the risk rather than not taking the risk at all.
Yeah, you've got nothing to lose. Like, at that point, I had nothing to lose. It's like, well, we'll just get more in depth. I can pay it off eventually.
Yeah.
It's done, yeah.
And I think I've spoken about this once before even, but when I watched Oppenheimer when it came out, was talking about, well, there's this scene where Oppenheimer was talking to a close friend of his and he was having some problems with his wife and things like that, and because he was creating the atomic bomb, right? Yeah. And he was talking to his friend about his problems and the different things he was going through, and he talked about the idea, or he basically said the quote of something along the lines of, Robert, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of seeing what other people can't see. And that's the same thing with high ticket sales, making money online, starting your own business, right? It's not real until it is, right? Look at where we are. we're in Bangkok, Thailand, right? It's materialized. I've met Richard across on the other side of the world, right? We've been working for about, 7 to 8 months together. Like, this is truly what can happen. Like, this is the real part of it. And this is why I was really excited to come and meet Richard in person, right? It becomes so much more real. And I'm sure you've probably thought this is a bit weird. I'm actually talking to the guy through the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's totally normal as well. But like,
Yeah.
every time that you meet somebody in the online space in person, like I'm sure you've met some of the guys in person for the RSA as well.
Correct. Yeah, the first person I met, we actually sparred in Muay Thai, and
Was
then
it Bench?
yeah, it was Van.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
realized about a week or two later, it was like, oh my god, you're in the RSA. We just sort of narrowed it down through convo. So, and then I've met a few other people out
Brendan.
here. Brendan, Rahul, and Jonas are coming.
Yep. Next week.
Yeah, and Rob as well. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, he
Yeah.
sent me a message on
Yeah.
Instagram as well. Yeah, and that's super cool. And like you've found that kind of community and you've connected with more than a couple of people. I guess you enjoy spending time with, I'd assume.
Correct. Yeah, you just find the people you vibe with a little more. But I'm always helping any RSA member on any social platform. If they hit me up on Facebook, Insta, whatever, I try my best. If you're in the RSA, I believe in the community. So yeah,
Legend, man. And I think that's one of the most powerful things as well, because during that period that we we're just talking about, being able to get through that, if you're trying to do this on like by yourself, you're cooked. I'm just telling you, you're going to give up, right? If you haven't invested money, if you haven't put forth commitment and investment, right? Just as Richard said before, when you spend money on mentorships and training, like it lights a bit of a fire up into your ass because you're like, I have spent money, I now have to get an ROI. But not only that, if you are trying to do this by yourself, you're a lone wolf, and you don't have a community of other people who you can actually connect with doing the same thing as you, it's going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Even the community that I was a part with, that I talk about, my first mentor and how it wasn't so good, there was so many people in that community, yet I felt so isolated because there were so few people that actually wanted it as bad as I wanted it to as well. And how have you found the community in general, like inside the RSA, opposed to like what you've experienced in the past? You've been a part of a few different communities. Like, how would you say it compares in comparison?
bloody brilliant. It's super helpful. I've never seen like any negativity as well. Like with some people, I know, whatever some communities, they could guess bash on some people.
Yeah.
But in the RSA, it's not there. Everyone's helping each other out. Everyone wants to network calls. Help them out with offers. I've done that a few times where I've got given offers and I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, hey, I know about John or whatever who's in the same time zone and was looking for a fitness offer, and I just, I'll rather help the RSA members than anyone else, like outside of
Networking.
it. Yeah, networking. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. No, I love that. And so, if we were to walk back a couple steps, so that offer wasn't working well for you. What was the next step from there? This is the third time we've gone through. First offer bad, second offer bad, third offer bad. Like, what was the next step you went from there?
Get on a good offer.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. So you finally struck luck.
Yeah, struck luck. Yeah. Finally struck luck after about 3 months ish.
Yep.
On an offer that had a big team, so it was about, I don't know, like 10 12 setters, about 7 or 8 closers, something like that. The interview was amazing because he already knew some of the questions I was going to ask, so he sort of like answered them for me without me, when I go to vet offers, you got to ask questions.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, let's do it. It sounds like, if the other setters are making money, because I was starting as a setter, there's no reason with the skills I got from the RSA that I shouldn't at least make something, and then that's where things started turning. Yeah.
Exponential growth. As I always talk about, nothing for a really long time and then all at once. Right? This is how it happens, right? And that's why, referring back to what Richard was explaining earlier, that period is like hell week, right? A hell couple months, basically, right? You're going to go for a long time without ever knowing that you're going to get a result at all. And then out of nowhere, exponential growth, and it will seem like it's happening magically.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, this is just coincidence and so. It's like, it's never actually magic or coincidence or anything. all it is long-term delayed gratification, and you putting in the actual work, input after input, day after day after day, failing all the time, eventually passing all the tests you need to pass, then you eventually
That's it, yeah.
see that massive growth. And
Yeah.
so I won't even say the name of the offer, but like, was it with Tim?
No, not with Tim, no.
Different offer now.
Different offer, yeah. I
Okay,
was
so
with,
run us through what you're selling, what you're doing.
currently?
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's a thing in Australia called NDIS, which is the
Cool.
National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much a government-funded organisation. They help people out with disabilities. So what I do, I'm on a fitness offer. So we help people with disabilities that are looking to get fit, get active, increase their life expectancy, because that's a big thing with people with disabilities.
Yeah.
We help them get personal trainers to help them achieve that. So yeah, I'm in a hybrid sort of role, a set and a close in a sense as well. So it's a little bit of like, I get to sort of pick and choose, I guess, whatever I feel like on the day. Sometimes I do take calls, but it's mainly at my own pace.
That's
So,
good, bro.
yeah.
That's really, really cool. And again, it's slightly out of the high ticket industry, but it's still to do with sales.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, like you mentioned, it's really helping people. And that's the really thing that you have to get at, because I think a lot of people have these wrong opinions or limiting beliefs about sales.
Yeah.
Sleazy, gross, weird, high pitcher pitching, Wolf on Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, ballroom sales type mentality. But that's just not what it is like at all.
No.
Like, run us through your process and how, like, what your typical day could look like in this role. So I guess the guys can get a bit of an understanding of potentially if it's something they can do themselves.
So in my current role, so yeah, well, I wake up firstly. It's the most important thing.
First step.
Yeah, I usually wake up about 20 minutes because we have daily like sales huddles. They only run about 15, 20 minutes, but I do that. My coffee's ready. I'm not Andrew Huberman doing the coffee thing and delaying it. I just sort of opt to have it. But yeah, after that, usually takes me about just under an hour to wake up, sort of like see the sun a little bit, brush teeth.
Yep.
Do what you got to do, and then yeah, just straight into it, clearing inboxes. And then going into what I'm doing is upselling at the moment. So I close people on doing an extra session.
Okay.
So, and I get comms. So if they go from like 1 to 2 sessions, I get comms. And if they go to 1 to 5, I get the amount of comms of the session. So, yeah, usually most days I just pretty much do that before lunch. And then sometimes I set just because for the people outside of Australia, we got Western Australia, which is about 3 hours behind the eastern seaboard.
Yep.
Sometimes if I'm waiting to go to the gym with my mates or Muay Thai, I'll just start dialing just because I'm already there.
Yeah.
And it's extra money. If something happens, I get extra money. If not, oh well.
Well, how's that transition been for you, right? You've gone from working in grocery stores to being at the point where you can command money into thin air. What is that like in comparison to what you've done previously? Like, what's the feeling like? What does it feel like?
Feels amazing to be paid on
Your effort.
your effort. Yeah. I don't think. I think you've ruined me. I don't think I can go back to time-based pay or salary. So
Yeah.
I reckon maybe for the potential for the moment, the rest of my life, it'll all be performance-based industries where I get paid on how much I put in as opposed to how much I stand in the shop or whatever.
It's unreal, man. Like, it's like my first and only real job, as I would like to call it, is retail as well.
Yeah.
Right. Technically, grocery store, retail, similar and same thing, right? And I remember, because a bit of a side topic, I went to like some charity thing that one of my friends, Bogdan, invited me to in Dubai.
Yeah.
And we're like handing out these like food for all the construction workers and stuff, like an hour or something like that. And pure heat in the moment, like all these guys are super hungry, everybody's kind of pushed through. I'm just like constantly like just basically just passing all these things to, I guess, all these construction workers. And I had actual PTSD from going back to retail of like customer service voice, just like always put on a smile, customer's always right, standing there for 8 hours a day to check out. Now, of course, yes, I know first world problems, but like a lot of you guys might be able to relate, just as Richard can. It's not fun.
Not
And
at all.
not at all. Like it's and you're also paid. The reason why I brought that up initially was, you're paid by the hour. You got to
Yeah.
stand there. There's no way you increase things. You don't get paid by performance. You don't get paid for the results you bring to the table. And once you are right, once you've done that, you cannot go back.
Yeah. I can't see myself doing that ever
You're
again.
you're eternally restricted in a role to where you're paid off I guess a place where you can't increase your income, and only if you spend years at the same place, you can somewhat increase your salary, but not really by much in comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I talk about this often quite a lot of how sales is a meritocracy, and the reason that's so great is the results you bring to the table, the more you get paid, right? And naturally, the better you get at it, the better results you bring, and inevitably, the more you get paid. Because at the moment, making 7K this month, this month or last month, which is really, really great. And then, probably would have been 8 if you said you didn't have like a 2-week holiday as
Yeah, I
well.
decided to reward myself after like 8
That's
or
fair
so
enough.
months of
That's
hard work.
that's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. But yeah, like that's that now. But like, what's that going to look like in 6 months or 12 months compounded? Because you're going to have more experience. You're going to get better at identifying good offers. You're going to have better skills overall. You're going to be more well developed. And the cool thing about sales is, from what I've seen across the board, is that skill just constantly compounds.
Yeah.
Gets better and better and better and better, because if you look at your first appointment setting call to like now, the progression, you wouldn't even recognize yourself.
No. I've done it before. I've listened back to one of my early ones, and it's just, it's quite horrible. But nowadays, I've got to improve. Of course.
Of course.
There's always room for improvement, but it's a whole lot ton better than when I first started out. Like any skill in life, it's the same. It works all the same across everything.
What's your family feel like about all this? You
Um,
moving across the world, quitting all your jobs. Mysterious uncle now. Mysterious uncle that's rich and just travels the world. Like, what's your family feel about all this? And like, do they know about your travels and what you're doing and where you're going? Like,
Yeah, they do. They do know. I do keep them updated. My family's like European from the Balkans, so it's quite family orientated
Sure.
nationalities there.
yeah.
So I just keep them up to date. At first, as always, no one believed me. So
You're at a pyramid scheme. Are you sure this is real? Are you scamming people? Yeah.
that happened, and so I decided not to say much at
Yep.
the beginning. I was like, I told them a little bit, got I guess roasted for it,
Yep.
and I was like, you know what, I'll just shut up and do it.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. And once the results started coming in, especially in the bank account with my type of family, that's when I showed them the results, and they were like, "From what?" I'm like, "Yep, just from taking a few calls on a laptop,
Yeah.
with some Wi-Fi
Yep.
and headphones or whatever. That's it." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks their mind, and like
Yeah.
I can really understand it, because like my parents as well. Like, it took a long time before they were warmed up to things, which is totally reasonable and understandable, by the way. It got to the point where if someone's watching this and you are in pursuit of this thing, trying to make money online. Just as Richard said as well, I strongly recommend that you don't tell people around you. Keep it to yourself, right? Because nobody's going to understand it. Everybody's going to project their limiting beliefs onto you, because you would have only started to believe this stuff is possible if you started to expose and surround yourself by the right people, aka like Jack and a few others. Like,
Yeah.
it's very curious. Like, what were your beliefs before high ticket sales and making money online and things like that? Like, how was that shift?
Well, I used to not think making money online was real.
Yeah.
I used to all think it was a pyramid scheme, or like
Yeah.
they're just selling scams, whatever it was across the board. And my mindset, especially, wasn't as you've said it multiple times, you almost have to believe in yourself, like delusion yourself in a
Yeah.
way to say like, you gotta think of the person you want to be before you become the person that you're going to be or want to be. So
Yeah.
that was probably the biggest shift from before high ticket sales and then after, well, not after, but
Yeah.
present.
Yeah, present. No,
Present
I
day.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you were talking about is the be do have rather than the do be have principle of you have to become the person before you see the person, and that's often probably one of the hardest things that you actually do because you'll feel like a fraud,
Yeah.
right? It's not you, it's not real. Like you're reinventing yourself, and the reason I suggest again not telling people around you, your family and your friends and things like that, is because they already know your current version of self. They know who you are now.
Yeah.
They know Richard, who works 3 part-time jobs, is a guitar teacher, is working grocery stores. That's who they know, right? With me, who they knew was someone who works in retail, right? For you guys in Australia, in Bunnings, right? That was what I did, right? There wasn't anything else. I wasn't going to university or anything like that. Like, did you end up studying at university? You mentioned.
Yeah, so I studied. I still haven't finished the degree,
Okay.
which I'm not sure if I will at this point. But I was studying film and television, so making movies like that type of thing, which I did actually enjoy. But
Yeah.
it was just never the path, I guess, at a certain point because, and I would like to make my own independent movies, not work for somebody else. Like
Yeah.
where I have the free time to be like, I can take as long as I want. We can go out to the deserts or whatever, whatever we got to do. So.
Yeah. You got the capital to do so. Have you heard of
Correct.
Jack Demo before?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a YouTube guy. He has that same idea or ideology. Like he wants to do filmmaking, he wants to do video and stuff, but he wants to do it independently.
Yeah.
And he's making money online and building cash flow to do that as well,
Okay. Yeah.
which would be a pretty cool idea for you eventually.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a few
Yeah.
years time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, a concept that we've been talking about in the RSA recently as well is like, if you're doing 8 to 12K a month and you want to go to that next level, because understandably, majority of you guys watching, including Richard, aren't going to want to do high ticket sales forever, right? It is a vehicle, right? It's going to get you from point A to point B. Whether or not you do it for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, that's perfect for you. But 90% of you watching aren't going to want to do high ticket sales forever, right?
Yeah.
It's a lucrative vehicle for now, but eventually there's going to be an evolution of where you want to learn the skills to potentially, if you are courageous enough or you are motivated enough to do your own thing, right? When you're an offer. And I think that's an evolution or a transition in the market that I'm seeing at the moment where high ticket sales is a good vehicle. You learn the skill of sales, but then eventually you go into starting your own business a couple years, a year, 2 years down the line when you feel like you're ready and really learn all the right skills to adapt yourself into the new skills economy, right? Because we've all seen it. Everybody's losing their jobs nowadays, right? AI is coming to replace us all, blah, 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 blah. We've all heard it, right? And, some of you should be definitely afraid of like where your jobs are going to be heading. I know I would be, like looking at, software engineers and things like that. Like you can see AI nowadays, it's pumping out code in 3 seconds. It's
crazy.
making films and stuff like that and where it is now. Like I'm not going to be a fear mongerer, but like I'm just saying it's definitely something to consider because if I was studying in university, I would be really thinking on how AI is actually going to impact my job economy, my well-being, because I've always been someone who's thought about that presently, all the way down to the situation of where I nearly lost my job in Bunnings and getting fired for something I didn't do. But that's a whole other thing. You can go and watch that story in my honest experience video. But let me see what other questions we have here. So like, what do you think that your biggest learnings were, bro? Like, what do you feel like, besides offers, which we've kind of covered,
Yeah.
what do you feel like your biggest learnings for maybe someone who's starting out who's maybe like a beginner? Like, what would you like to share with some guys that are kind of starting out in this?
That's a great question.
I'll put you on the spot.
I would say one of the things I found valuable, like obviously the sales skills you do learn. Very amazing teacher here. There's not an issue there. But was networking, like learning how to network, like the skills for that, like efficiently, not just
Being some random guy that
yeah,
says, "Oh, let's go for a coffee, bro."
yeah,
Yeah,
not like that. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
actually learning how to do it, and almost like targeted networking to get the results you like. So if you're looking for certain offers, certain niches, certain OTEs, stuff like that, and also just meeting people because I feel like the more people you need that that are higher level than you, in a sense, it just raises your standard to go up. So, and yeah, then the sales skills as well, because my ejection handling was horrible. Now it's a whole lot better, but
yeah,
always used to be afraid of objecting to people just because of that customer service mentality in
yeah.
Coles or in the grocery store. So that was something I had to develop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. I think all of those points are really, really important. I think one of the first points you said as well, by being surrounded by the right people, right? That's so key. I think the understanding of exposure can be one of the things that make or break success in your lifetime. And I do genuinely do mean that. I don't need to be that dramatic, but it really is that serious. If you don't know anybody that's making money online in your hometown, anybody around you, nobody's going to believe it's real. You're not going to believe it's real, right? Because you are your environment, right? You know, as cliche and as cringe as it is, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? Just as Richard has possibly leveled up his circle where he's hanging out with guys in the RSA, guys who want to travel the world and make money online and do all this type of stuff, and he's in some other communities as well, which is
Yeah.
really cool. That makes a dramatic impact, right? A huge difference, right? That's why, for example, tomorrow I booked a flight to go to Dubai again, because the people that I'm surrounded there are talking and having conversations that you would never be able to even fathom or even understand or realize. Like we're talking guys talking about millions of dollars per year, right? If someone told me that as an 18-year-old, I would have said that you're crazy. It doesn't make sense. It's not real. It's not what I know. It's uncomfortable. It's new. And I think getting amongst the community is one of the biggest things that you can do, especially if you're a young guy. A lot of the people that watch my channel are young dudes.
Young dudes, yeah.
Obviously, if you are a woman and you want to join the RSA, we need more of those, right? We've got like 4.
All killers, by the way.
Yeah, all killers,
Yeah.
absolute killers. Yeah, definitely a special shout out to the ladies in the community.
Mm.
But that aside, what if you were to give some feedback on the RSA? Obviously, you're meeting me, all that type of stuff. Like, what do you feel like from the inside? What do you think, if you're going to explain to people from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
what does it look like? What's your overall experience been? Tell us more about that.
So yeah, it's a community where people post, and obviously there's content as well that you have to go through.
I hope it's a little bit more than that. Yeah,
A little bit more.
Yeah.
There's weekly calls. I think there's multiple now a
Yep.
week, isn't there? Yeah. Multiple calls a week. Role play sessions. There's of course a whole shit ton of content to go through, which can take quite a lot of time.
Yep.
Especially if you want to note take as well, which I did the second time around from your recommendation. And yeah, it's just the building aspect of it, like with building with people, like it's being built on. It's not just
Set and forget.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you
It's
didn't
not
just
like
get a
that.
course and it hasn't changed.
Correct. Yeah, it's like it's being built. There's people sharing offers. They're sharing tips and tricks, like strategies as well. Mm-hmm. And everyone's just helping everyone to achieve their dreams, or like at least get on to the track of where they want to be. So,
Why is that important to you, do you think?
because I think without it, you'd be that lone wolf. And I think there's a saying where it's like the lone wolf never survives, but the pack survives, or something like that. I think it's some Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Cheesy, but
Okay.
but it sort of makes sense because the
It
pack
does.
obviously has strength in numbers, and it, I might not know something, you might know it. This person might know something that can help my weaknesses, and vice versa. It's like just value-based transactions, I guess you could say. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's important in a community, right? That's why I've put so much emphasis on building a community of people who are actually engaged and want to be engaged and want to help, right? Because have you found many, if any, bad apples inside the community?
No,
No?
not to me personally. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if other people have, but not once. And I'm quite a friendly guy, so that might be maybe I've got an advantage there. But
Yeah.
not once. Never I've never had that experience, so I can't relate. So
Yeah, that's good because I mean, I've had such a priority and focus on making sure the people inside the community are good. Because like at this point, like I've invested over 200 to 210,000 on coaching, training, development, communities, and things like that. And I've found one of the most important things that you can get as a part of a training program is going to be the community. Because we spoke about proximity, we spoke about exposure and how that's so important. But a community it can only be built. It can't be manufactured, right? You can't just go, hey guys, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't just insert a community. You have to actually build it from the ground up. And one really special emphasis that I've put on the RSA is making sure we have guys like Richard, guys who want to win, who are about it, who are a good culture fit, who have good values, right? That's really, really important to me because you've probably been a part of, again, we maybe spoke about this earlier, but some communities as well where, there's hundreds of guys in there, but
Yeah.
nobody's active. Nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody
dead.
really is that actually invested.
yeah, plenty of times. More times than I could count probably. So I would say you join something and I'm like, oh, this is sort of
You're kind of just isolated.
yeah.
Right.
It still feels the same before. After you've joined. Whereas the RSA, I felt completely different. Clearly, my life has changed from joining it, so it's made me. It just skyrocketed everything. So
Well, let's talk about that because that's good. How has your life changed mentally, physically, where we're at? Like, what does things look like for you now? What does the changes look like going from when you're working in those stores to now?
So yeah, as of now, it's like I'm living my dreams, or like at least on the way. Obviously,
Yeah.
a few other things I got to achieve to hit the dreams, but I'm definitely on the right track. I never would have thought this would be where I was at because if you asked me this a few years ago, I probably would have been like you're crazy. So going from, quite a lot of rough years when I was younger. I'm a little bit older. I'm like 27. So I'm 27 currently.
Savage.
So that was also another thing where I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit older. All these young guys are killing it. But everything's improved. Like my training as well, like my mental health, my health, my skills, my money, the ability to just pick up a laptop and shift wherever I want. And yeah, just the quality of life, like of everything, has just increased dramatically. Going from where I was in those rough years when I was a little younger, so having no ambition, no drive, stuck playing. I still love playing music, but like playing the same shitty like bars and all that type of stuff, which I do it, grateful for it, but always wanted to be the person that would tour around, and I guess I just thought, hey, if I can do it for a laptop, make money, that's it. Yeah.
Perfect. And what's what are your future plans? Like what are you looking to do over the next year now that you've got geographical freedom, right? You've got time freedom as long as the time zone allows it and you can work in the time zone, it makes sense. Like what are your plans over the next year and 2 years?
For the next year or two, I would say is definitely keep grinding. Like don't let off, don't put your foot off the gas pedal and don't get complacent, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I did enjoy myself for 2 weeks, but aside
That's
from
good,
that,
bro. You earned it though. That's
yeah.
fair.
Just a lot more traveling, grinding down, maybe finding even better offers or just, I don't know, I feel like, as you said, I'll probably stay in sales for a little while, a few years, and then think of transitioning out. What that is at the moment, I'm not sure, but I think for the next year or two, it's going to be taking advantage of the laptop lifestyle, being able to travel, work, I guess, as you said, whatever hours you can, if it aligns, and making more money than, both my part-time jobs combined and not killing myself physically, mentally in the process as well. So that's probably a huge one.
That's
for
unreal,
me.
man. Yeah, no, I'm super happy for you because There's no one that deserves it more, man. You were working extremely hard. You persisted through failure after failure after failure and setback after setback, and those are people that are going to win. And ultimately, if you want it bad enough, you will eventually have it, right? It's really important to understand that your competition is so low in reality, right? Most people with making money online, they give it a couple of days, weeks, months, and then they actually end up giving up. Like that is 95% of people. That might be even you watching this video, right? It's very, very common, right? You have to have the mindset that you're going to run through as many brick walls as possible till you get to the reality that you want, right? You've seen it in the other in-person videos, but like, look at where we are, right? We're literally in Bangkok, right? Richard's here, he's chilling, he's joining his new life. He's probably going to travel somewhere else as well, you know, in the future. He's meeting up with like-minded guys who all have the same values, who are from the RSA community, you know, getting closer houses, you know, selling together. Like, this is what life is about, right? In my opinion. And you can well and fine be happy and okay being average and being comfortable doing the normal thing. That's okay if you want that. But if you want something different, you have to understand that you have to pick one thing, aka, in my opinion, I'm pretty biased, but high ticket sales is one of those vehicles that you should commit to, and then do it for an insanely long time. Don't give up, persist, and be consistent because you never know what could happen, right? You could be here sitting with me somewhere across the world, right? If you're crushing it, right? Like Richard is, right? And so the reality that you guys probably want is on the other side of hard work, consistency, and perseverance, right? I think I brought up this quote in the last interview, but water doesn't burst through rock or crack through rock because of its power, but because of its persistency, right? And consistency. And that's the same with making money online across the board. I'm sure you've probably observed
Agreed.
that in people around you and all the people that are crushing it inside the community too.
Yeah, agreed. I reckon the only way to crush it is to actually get past those trials and tribulations. You know, if you, it's almost like it's like a test.
Yeah.
I don't know, if you can't get past the test, then do you deserve to reap the rewards?
That's
So,
the way
yeah,
the way I see it too. It's like every problem that you encounter is just a test.
yeah,
It's how bad do you really want it, right? That's what's being told to you, right? How many times are you willing to get kicked in the dick, get spat in the face,
yeah,
and just be taken around for a ride along? And how serious are you about this making money online stuff? How serious are you to travel the world and have these freedoms, right? I can guarantee you, most of you watching this video probably are not, right? And if you aren't, you need to change it because seriously, you need to be more serious than your competition, right? It's a player versus player world, right? If you can outwork everybody else, you'll be sitting here in this chair doing what I'm doing what Richard's doing, traveling the world just like a bunch of my clients do, right? Really is the brass tack of things. If you were to be talking to someone who's been sitting on the fence for a while, man, like, you know, someone who's sitting on the fence, maybe they've been watching the channel for a while, they've been considering the RSA, like, what would you say to that guy or gal who's just kind of sitting there on the line, not sure whether or not they should jump?
yeah. I would say if you're not happy with where your life is at the moment, if you don't want to I guess a normal lifestyle of, you know, starting a family, getting debt, buy a house, blah, 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 and then retire and then enjoying your life, I would say take the leap because I was in debt and I decided to get in more debt and just take the chance. You can always make more money, but you can't get your time back. So I would say if you're sitting on the fence, you know, take that leap, in my opinion. It's the best decision I've done to date of my life so far. So there you go. So yeah, just a little bit of faith.
Yeah.
We got Connor here to, you know, I guess guide you, you know, take your hand and show you how
The
to
way.
get on. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, show you the way. Yeah.
No, I like that. And so across the board, like how likely would you be to recommend the RSA from everything you've seen? How much of a raving reviewer are you? Are you excited about it? Are you chuffed?
I would say a 10 out of 10. So if there's a numbering system, but yeah, best thing I've ever done. So it's the only reason I'm able to do this now is because of the RSA meet other high-level network individuals, invest into other groups and stuff like that. Trainings as well, sort of like yourself, as well, just from that first step with the RSA, and just yeah.
No, it's perfect. And so, if you're going to leave the guys with one last thing, one last thing you wanted to kind of share with the guys that are watching, what would that be? What would you want to tell someone that's been watching the channel for a while, or a key takeaway?
I would say if you believe in yourself, you can do it. That's all, and you just got to remember, for the people that have been waiting a long time to join the RSA, or just been watching from the sidelines, the master's a quote. The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. So, you got to stick with the failures, go through it, take the leap, and just bet on yourself for once as well. If you're not a person that usually does it, I would say take a chance, because we're all going to die at the end of the day. We all go wherever we go. So why not try to enjoy your life to its fullest and actually learn some skills to make it even better. So
Very wise words. Very wise words. Very good takeaways. And yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that interview. Hopefully you got some insights, you got some takeaways. The more I do of these, hopefully the more you can see how real this thing is, right? How we are traveling the world, how we are doing these things. Of course, as Richard displayed, and as I've talked about all the time, this doesn't just happen overnight, right? We know this, right? It's going to be at the other backside of hard work and dedication and a lot of effort. But if you have the right mentor, if you have the right strategy, if you have the right path, it is literally inevitable that you will be successful as long as you put in the work and you don't give up, right? I like to tell my guys that all the time. The only two ways that you can fail with me, and I make this as a promise to you right now, is that if you just don't give up and you put in the effort required. That's it, right? The simple law of cause and effect. It's actually how it works. What you put in is what you get out, right? Not rocket science, okay? So sweet, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview, and we'll see you in the next one.